You have your volume on?
Yeah.
And you could hear him before?
No.
You heard him at all?
No.
Oh.
Text Russ.
Let's see.
Right, my volume's all the way up. Can you?
Okay, so I see you.
Can you hear him? We can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, so let the record reflect that all board members are here and accounted for. Is that right? Well, maybe we should just go through. Does everybody want to go through and just say your last name and present? That way everybody hears it. You go ahead, start, Mary.
Lang, here.
Ofsted here.
Hackett, here.
Garrett's here.
Rory, here.
Your turn, Tyra.
Yes, I don't hear.
You cut out.
Okay.
You just say here,
Tyra.
Tyra.
Here. Here.
All right. So let the record reflect all the board members counted and present, or here anyhow. Board's chair comments. I have a comment that's from the last regular scheduled board meeting that needs to be read at the beginning of this meeting according to state statute chapter 13D.01. And here's the statement. A closed meeting of the Royalton School Board was held on December 14th at 8:10 after the December monthly regular meeting. The meeting was to fulfill a contractual superintendent evaluation. With 3 board members leaving, parting thoughts were given by directors to the superintendent for professional growth. The meeting was adjourned at 8:31. That's that comment. All right, the other comment I have is, with this electronic meeting, I'm not trying to limit dissent, and I will ask for board members' opinions. But I worry about the side comments that are going on through the meeting that not everybody is privy to. It's expedient to solve problems, but it's not in the spirit of the meeting. If we were all in one room and there was a comment going on or there's conversation going on in the back, I don't care if everybody could hear it. So I would like you to use the raise your hand feature that is in the meeting platform. If that's okay with the other board members, we're going to continue that, or at least try it for a meeting or two. I am not trying to limit any dissent or any comments but I think that what's going to happen is we're going to miss a comment that was a good one, or miss dissent that we should hear, or scrutiny that we should hear. So that's a call I'm making as the chairman. With that, we'll go on to approval of agenda. Would somebody like to move that?
So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, this is going to be
You want me to call it for you?
I can.
Okay.
This will be a roll call vote. Director Bauman.
Ira, can you hear? Why don't you come back to her?
All right. Director Lang. Director Garrett.
Yes.
Director Hackett. Yes. Director Hofstad.
Yes.
Director Roaring.
Yes.
Director Bauman.
Aye.
There you go. Perfect. Let the record reflect that the motion passes 6-0-0. All right, moving to approval of board minutes. Would somebody like to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Director Lang and seconded by Director Garrett to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. This will be another roll call vote. All in favor, say aye or yes, and nay will be against it. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Garrett,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes approval of minutes 6-0-0. Appreciation, recognition, and presentations. Dr. Grubata?
I'm not seeing my face isn't showing up. I'm not sure what's going on. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Very well.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead. I'm just got a black square where my face is supposed to be. But I want to recognize Riley DeVrent and his mother, Julie, and Dean DeVrent. They came to me last spring asking about a Gaga pit. And to be honest, I had no idea what a Gaga pit was. So I got together with Tony DeVell and Aaron Meyer, and we did some searching to figure out even what it was. And then we met with the DeVrents. And this was for Riley to earn his Eagle Scout badge. And they got it done. It's in the corner of our playground, south corner. And it's become the most popular game and equipment in the whole playground. And even through the winter now, the kids are just playing away. I still don't know if I still understand all the rules, but it's really a hit. And it's a large wooden structure. It's kind of a dodgeball kept below the waist within a structure. And they did a first class job building it, found just the right spot for it. And so congratulations and thank you to them for their project and for Riley with his Eagle Scout work. But what a benefit that's been to us as a school. The kids just love it and they play it every day. And like I said, I'm still not sure I understand it completely, but it's fun watching. They've tried to get me in there to play, but I've stayed away. I just got to learn a little bit better before I get into the pit. So I'm still a spectator, but congratulations to them. And we definitely want to recognize them. It's another example of community school partnership. And it was not an inexpensive thing or uncomplicated thing to build. They just did a really nice job. And it's out there if you want to take a look at it. And if you want to get in a game, you can come by any noontime and get in a game. So congratulations to, like I said, all the DeVrents. And it definitely was a family team effort with Riley leading the way.
All right. Well, thank you, Phil. Thank you to the Brent family. Did you have anything else, Dr. Gravata?
Like an add do you want me to wait till it's time for the reports from principals?
Yeah, why don't you wait with that?
Yeah, otherwise, no. Just a big thank you to the DeVrent family.
Okay.
And I now have my face, so it did come through.
Principal Swenson, are you there?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to, I'm here to introduce and recognize our fall students of the month. We lost our student of the month coordinator in August, late August, and we got school going, and then we got into hybrid and distance learning in October. And then this kind of slipped by the wayside a little bit, but Brad Bauman has agreed to be our Student of the Month coordinator, and we'll be writing the articles for the record for Students of the Month. And so this year we're going to break them up fall, winter, and spring and do 3 months at a time. The fall Students of the Month are Anna Memkin, Sam Zimmerman, and Naomi Ferguson. And they are all with us this evening online. If you're talking about 3 students who you'd like to see recognized and who have done so the right way, they kind of represent, these 3 students kind of represent the 3 branches of the programs that the school runs. Anna's real strong, and they're all strong academically. Anna's kind of the athlete of the group. Sam is kind of the actor musician of the group. And Naomi is I know Naomi has been receiving academic awards since she was I kept remember when Naomi was in 7th grade, she kept getting these awards at the end of the school banquet, at the end of the school year ceremony. And it was this little Naomi Ferguson kept coming up and getting awards. And she's been doing so ever since. And she's also involved in fine arts activities and sports. So these are 3 very fine representatives for our school. They've done a great job. They are just an absolute joy to have in the building. They'll be missed as seniors, and we're hoping to get them back so they can be with us for the last few months of the school year. But I couldn't think of 3 better representatives to be our first 3 students of the month this year. So I'd like to congratulate Sam, Naomi, and Anna on being students of the month. They are qualified for a scholarship and will be recognized at the student ceremony at the end of the year. And they're eligible for the Student of the Year scholarship by being named a Student of the Month. So congratulations to these 3.
Congratulations, kids. Did any of them want to speak?
Naomi, Sam, and Anna, you guys want to talk?
Raise their hand.
Yeah, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I didn't tell them that.
Yeah, good job. I just had to put them on the spot, so.
Yep.
Well, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, I heard.
Yep. All right. Any other appreciation recognitions or presentations? Hearing none, we're going to move on to recognition of citizens for input purposes. We're going to give it a couple minutes here, see if anybody raises their hand at all. So, and I also don't want to just limit public comment to this part of the meeting. If you feel like you have something to add, you can use the raise your hand feature, just like we have been. So further in the meeting. As a board chairman, I look forward to the time when we will be able to hold these meetings in person, have everybody in person again. Yeah, the public comment is not just the comment, but it's also seeing the people and creating the relationships with the people that helps. So I don't hear anybody, so we're going to move on. If we get somebody, we'll circle back. Board committee reports. Mary, do you have a committee report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've been designated as the liaison between Mid-State and our school district, and I was very fortunate to meet some new people, Ryan Thomas from Upsala, Steve Holder Pierce, Jason Bloomberg from Onamia, and Kathy Beckman from Swanville. Also, Simone Boland is the director of Mid-State, and we got a tour of the building, which is really, really quite fascinating. I asked some pointed questions, however, because I had served on that board once before in the building. And I asked about dyslexia in particular, and she shared with me that they don't actually service that.
A little louder, please.
Okay. They don't actually serve that you say, but they do help each district with those types of concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So that was reassuring.
Yep.
But most of the kids that they do service are EDD or, dysfunctional in some other way, according to our overview, I guess. They, again, put us all on different committees to serve, as we do here. And the meeting is run with a consent agenda, which I found extremely refreshing because we got a lot of work done in much less time. And that to me is wonderful. And I discussed that with Ms. Boland. And she said that usually the only time they had to use the other type of voting technique was if it was for a resolution. So that was interesting to see that they are doing that and they deal with millions of dollars also. So those things were kind of interesting to see. I got to see some old friends in the building and made some new ones, and that was always good too. And really, really encourage any of you, if you have the opportunity or the time, to go there, call Simone, and ask to see the facility. I think it's something to see. Because we don't really know. I know that Dawn always tells us that they're late with their payment, and I brought that up to Dawn. And the reason is they're running their school literally through the end of June, like the 26th and 27th. So that's probably why when we're closing our books shortly thereafter, there gets to be a conflict. But she's gonna try and, there's not much to do. That's what it is. Thank you. That's all I have. Any questions?
They run their meeting virtually also.
Yes. If they have to, that I know of. John, don't they? You would know better than I. Have they done their meetings virtually?
Yes, they have.
That's what I thought. She said that, but I don't always remember. Yeah. And of course, all the soups are part of that board. And John was there. Yay.
All right. Any other committee reports?
I would say policy. Ryan, do you have anything?
It was a good first policy meeting. I learned quite a bit about what we go through there. We updated the policy, the tobacco policy to include vaping, bring that in there, and then the medical policy for who is authorized to do what and what the school has to do with medications. So those are the two big things from policy.
Any questions? Any other committee reports? All right, superintendent report.
Yes, I have a couple of things. First thing that I have on my list is I would like to see us work on a process for making the agenda up, rather than it's just what I see in the picture and I throw it at you. We need the entire board as part of it. So the first step I would say is sometimes you can't be there. Nobody can be there all the time. I would suggest that when we meet on Tuesdays, and we're doing it virtually, that the vice chair also sits in on those meetings. And that way we can get input, and the other board members can contact both of you with things they feel that we need to have on there. I would also suggest that in one of those meetings, we bring in our executive committee that I have with our administrators to add if need be. And then also the executive branch here is bringing in either the clerk or the treasurer for discussion, so people are aware of what's going on. And more importantly, they can ask questions and be sure to ask the questions at the open meeting as well, for clarification for everybody. I think that'd be a way that the community will understand more, and that also board members will get more. Because I know it sometimes I get behind in work and I don't get a chance to catch up on things, and this would be a way where everybody has that opportunity.
I like the idea, but we really have to be careful that we don't. So this is for the new board members that haven't had the experience that we've kind of had. When we were going through building the school and stuff, we started meeting every other week, twice a month, pretty much. And we were having so much discussion in our planning meetings that by the time we got to the open, well, they're both open, but by the time we got to the regular meeting, none of that discussion was making the public. So they weren't hearing our dissent between us. And I think it's good for the public to hear the dissent, that it's not just it ended up looking like a canned meeting. You came to a meeting and you just, yeah, okay, let's go home, because we'd had all that discussion before. So we just have to make sure that we're limiting it to ideas, or there is discussion that we relive the discussion for everybody to hear. So that would be my only worry of that.
And I promise you, I will keep you to that task.
Yes. Do you have anything else?
Yes, to the new board members, I put out strategic plan, the overall strategic plan for us, the mission, the beliefs, the vision, and the strategic plan. Part of the strategic plan has been slowed up because of COVID. We can't do nearly as much, especially when we aligned our curriculum, the standards. We're in the middle of finishing up our priority scales. People can go in, see the priority scales in both the elementary and the high school for what they have completed yet. There's still more work, but there are more steps to that. The part they've really worked on is the step one, and they've spent time, they've gotten together for staff development. Each building has their own group to work on a safe and secure environment for everybody. The governor announced part of a plan, there'll be more coming up, but that is one of the plans that the governor has for every school in the state of Minnesota, is to have a safe and welcoming environment for all students and to help everybody grow. And that's what our strategic plan is all about. And for the public, part of the strategic plan is, in the long run, we want to make sure our students can move at their pace. We know that we were set up by the industrial system that was making widgets, and so they set up education that way. It should be based upon how a student learns and at what rate the student learns, so eventually they can move along. That's what is in the plan, and that students can move at their pace, and if they need more help in math, they can get more help, and if they accelerate in English, let them accelerate. That's what it's all about. And who cares where they start? This board might want to change some of that, but we have not been able to meet as a strategic planning committee, of which there are 24 people involved, mostly community members and parents. Just so you realize that, and hopefully we can get back on. Both schools are starting to work on that. Why do I bring that up? Because it's also time for the board to sit down and work on the goals that these board members here tonight would like to see this school attain for next year. And to do that, and that will be very helpful to the superintendent, so he knows where to work and how to work there. And it's a clear picture for everybody, including our administration and for all staff members. So we're working on one common goal. And so I would suggest that either the first or the second Monday of our next month, that there is a work session set up. So you can set those goals and you can work on them very much so. The two dates are February 1st. I don't think you can get any closer to the first Monday of the month than that. And then February 8th would be the second one. So take a look. We'll have time towards the end to see what you would like to do. That's my suggestion. You don't have to buy into it.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
That's all for right now.
All right, business managers report.
I know this is shocking, and I just don't have a lot to say tonight.
Sure.
I know. Any questions? I will say we are on our second submission of our New Year's Mars counts for the district. And it's not a shock to anybody in the district, or shouldn't be to the board members, that our adjusted pupil units are down. And we're not the only district in the state that's experiencing that. It goes along with the pandemic. There are a lot of people are homeschooling, attending virtual online academies. So I'm working on budget numbers with the new updated Mars numbers on the first submission. This will change a little. I'm planning on holding my first finance committee with the new board in February. So we'll have to set up a time for those committee members. I know probably everybody works, so we'll get that set up at the end of the meeting, but I just wanted to put that out there. And I think I'm going to talk about this a little bit at every meeting. It was introduced in the legislature that they may hold school districts harmless and go back to last year's counts, but it was only an introduction. There's been no discussion, and everything's been kind of a standstill down there because of the federal levels issues with the inauguration and some other things that were going on. So I just wanted you guys to be well aware that yes, we are down. Hopefully we recoup those kiddos next year. I'm a big proponent of marketing these kids that have left to get them back in this district. John and I have talked, and I've chatted a little bit with both at admin meetings about, maybe we need to start marketing what we do best as a district to get these kids back, so. Yeah, I'm busy working on projects, that have come up because of COVID. We have extra projects on the pipeline with expenses, so, yeah, it's been a really busy time in the district office. Mary?
Exactly how many pupil units are we down?
Well, right now, as of today, we're gonna gain our special ed pupils. They don't get counted till the very end of the year because their membership is counted in minutes and hours and not in FTEs, which is the whole day. As of the last March submission, we are down roughly about 42, 45, but we should gain 15 to 17 of that with our Fed pupils. We are still gonna be down about 23, and it could be a little, now here's where it's gonna fluctuate, because we have PSEO kiddos that, attend classes in other, at Brainerd or St. Cloud, and we don't get all the membership hours for them either, so this is a really important time for us to, as a finance committee, stay abreast, so I can keep them abreast of what's happening, and then I can present it to the board. So starting in the February meeting, you're gonna see summaries every month of what's happening and where we're at.
Thank you.
There is a question from, board member Bowman.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tyra.
I was just curious if you know the count of the pupils that are homeschooling or didn't come back. Do we know how many are within our school district or how many are outside of it?
The majority of the kids and it's a majority, are open enrolled. 32% of our enrollment is open enrolled into this district. So the majority are also open enrolled that are homeschooling. But I'm hoping we can touch base with all of those parents and those kids and see what their plans are for next year when we're in hopefully in a different environment. But it is a majority of our kids that are homeschooled that are open enrolled.
Perfect. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Off the subject, I did forget one piece that I wanted to bring up. We were very fortunate in that St. Gabriel's has offered to all our education staff to help us keep in school. Any staff member that wants a vaccination, they will be vaccinating us all tomorrow, is what they told us. And it's very important. I need to have the number because once they thaw out the stuff, we don't want any of it going to waste. So if there's still staff members, any staff member that needs a vaccination, please contact me. But I forgot, I want to let the board know that tonight and the community. Good question. I suppose if they
They're
wanted.
part of the district, I would assume
Yeah.
that would be, I don't know, I mean, I just
No.
thought to ask that, sorry.
You certainly could.
Does anyone have any finance questions for me? Otherwise, my group was done. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, principals report. Dr. Gravata?
We have been back in school. This is our third week back in person after Christmas break. And everybody's working really hard to get the students into a consistent routine. And I can tell that the students are very happy to be back. Those families came back. Teachers are working hard. And of course, we're always working. COVID is a long ways from not being an issue anymore. So we're always working with that and always adjusting to things that occur. But so far, it's going okay. And we're real committed, I think all of us, in wanting to keep the school open for the remainder of the school year. So we're going to do everything we can. We're following all the safety protocols with the masking and social distancing the best we can in person. And so I just feel pleased by the cooperation and the team spirit of wanting to make this work for the students. So I think that's a credit to the staff and also the families. The parents have been really good to work with, very reasonable. So I feel good about that. And then we have kindergarten information night coming up on Monday, February 8th. And we're going to do that over Zoom this year. We could wait and delay it into the spring and see if things change as far as being able to bring people in. But I just decided that I'd rather get going earlier on it. So we've got material sent out to prospective families, and we'll be advertising, getting the word out. Anybody that you know who might be interested in attending our school, please encourage them. The Zoom link will be on the district website. And through all of this, we've just gotten a lot better at communicating, using technology from a distance. So we think it can work. And then we'll do a follow-up session where people can come in and bring in the registration materials and get a tour of the kindergarten rooms if they want to do that, but we'll do that more individually. So I think that, we've got a good focus, supporting each other. It's still challenging because we do have some families, which is fine, still working from home. So teachers are still teaching in the classroom and also doing some teaching at home. But we've had more kids come back. When we came in person, we had a lot of families come back. So I think the last I looked, out of all the grade levels, including kindergarten, we had about 14 families still distance learning. So when you spread that out across the grade levels, that's pretty good. Many of them happen to be with one grade level, one teacher. We got 6 or 7 with Mrs. Lust in 4th grade. So I don't know why. I think that's more coincidence than anything, but you take those 6 or 7 and then 6 or 7 more spread out across the grade levels. We feel pretty good that parents have wanted to get back in person. So, but again, a credit to the staff. They've really made distance learning work. There's been a lot of learning on how to use technology effectively. And we'll be taking those lessons that we've learned with us moving forward. So other than that, I'm open to any questions anybody might have.
Dr. Grabata, this is Director Hackett. So this kindergarten readiness Zoom meeting, is there a chance you're going to record the best parts of that so that if somebody couldn't attend the Zoom meeting was at work or something, that they could click on a link and be able to watch that?
Thank you for that. And yes, but we weren't going to say much about that till afterward. We want to encourage people to attend, but we definitely will have follow-up in a way that you're suggesting.
So the technology thing, everybody's getting used to it, but there's drawbacks from it, but there's definite points that we should capitalize on when we can do it and we can catch more people or have more people see them presentations. Because I know that them teachers, they really put their heart and soul in that. When you go to a kindergarten readiness, you come out of there pretty jazzed up thinking this is going to be the best thing ever. So, I'll work into that. So
yeah, we definitely are going to do what you suggest.
All right. Is there any other questions for Dr. Grabata? All right, well, thank you, Dr. Grabata.
Thank you.
Principal Swenson?
Yes, I have some other things later on in the agenda to discuss, but a few things I wanted to, we are right in the middle of what I would consider the most difficult part of the reorientation plan. Back to school, we have our middle school 6, 7, and 8 in person, and then our 9th through 12th graders are distant learning. So what that means at the high school for staff is I have some staff that are 100% in person. I have some staff that are 50% in person and 50% online, and then I have another percentage of staff that is still 100% online. This is the last week for our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to be distant learning. They will come back to school in person next Monday. And so we're looking forward to having that occur. Right now we have a first lunch shift, which is made up of middle school, which is about 160 kids when you add them all up. And then we get to the second lunch, which is supposed to be a mix between 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. And that lunch is about 75 kids. And next week, obviously, when you add the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to it, they will be bringing that lunch total back up. So we're looking forward to bringing the students back. We are working on registration for next year. We are going to have some registration nights coming up in February. We're going to have a night in the cafetorium with incoming 9th graders, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and their families to come in and register. Usually we did this at student-led conferences. But this year we're going to do it differently just because we feel that and I'll get to the conferences in a minute, we're going to do the registration separately and invite those families in. We have, it'll be from 5 to 8:30 or 5:30 to 8. We have 4 sessions we're going to have for each grade level, and we'll break it up by alphabet, send out the invitation. Students will come in with a parent, and we'll be socially distanced and work at getting our kids pre-registered for the schedule for next year. 2 of those nights are on conference nights. Our conference nights are Thursday, February 18th and Monday, February 22nd. Instead of doing student-led conferences this year with the amount of distance learning that has gone on and parents wanting to get in and find out what's going on in classrooms and with their students' progress in certain classes, we decided to do an online arena-style conference where students and their parents can sign up with for a conference with whatever teacher that they want to meet with. And so that information is going out here very soon. 2 of those nights for juniors and seniors, their pre-registration night does coincide with the conference night, so parents can make one trip in to the school. They can come in for conferences and do the pre-registration night. So otherwise, we're just looking forward to having our kids come back and get started. And the teachers have done a great job with it. The staff has done a great job. Little trickier keeping middle school kids apart. Not gonna sugarcoat that one. They've been apart for months, and they enjoy each other's company, and they want to gather and they want to talk. And that group dynamic with middle schoolers is so important. And it's hard to, you just want them to enjoy themselves and to be together and to learn from each other. And it's hard to encourage them that they need to maintain their distance from each other. And so we do the best we can with it. But the kids have been good. The response has been good. And teachers have been great at navigating throughout all of this over the past month. So that's all I have.
Great. Any questions for Principal Swenson? All right. The athletic director's report. Tony, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Well, we've been busy. Last time I talked, we were still on the pause, waiting for sports to start back up on the 4th. We've done that successfully. We are now in our competition season. Every sport program that was started on January 4th has had a competition. I think it's been successful. We've had some people in the building for watching the spectators. Some of the biggest changes is limiting the number of spectators, which is difficult in and of itself. We've provided streaming options for all sports, and we're improving on those every single time that we do them. And it's been improvements from fall sports, volleyball and football. We are in process and hoping we get our new system for streaming events late this week, early next week, which is essentially a desktop computer in a box which you'll see a HD camera focused on the players and another one picture-in-picture on the scoreboard, to provide a more robust experience for people that aren't able to get in to watch our sports teams, but not limited to just sports, but we'll broadcast as many programs and activities that we have that want to use the system to make it more accessible for others to listen and to watch. We've done a good job, I think, all around, coaches and athletes, in the masking that's required for practices and games. It's not ideal, but we're doing a good job of it. Whether it's transportation, whether it's games. Yes, when you are playing, it does come down, but our kids are really, really good about making sure we do what we can do, control our variables so that we can continue to participate. So that's about all I have.
Are there any questions for Tony? All right, well, thank you, Tony. Moving on, discussion, information, and action items. All right. So approve the accounts payable and receivables and employee reimbursements as attached and approve all their financial reports as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. So moved by Director Garrett and seconded by Director Hosted to approve accounts payable and receivables and employee reimbursements as attached and approve all their financial reports as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. This will be a roll call vote again, so aye or yes will be a vote for it, no will be a vote against. Director Bauman.
Aye.
Director Garrett.
Aye.
Director Hackett. Aye. Director Hofstad.
Aye.
Director Lang.
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that the vote goes 6-0-0 and it's approved. Approval of donations. We have 2 donations to approve for the new board members. It was changed in state statute last year that all donations need to be approved by resolution and need to be taken on a roll call vote. So this will be the same thing. You guys want to do these one at a time?
How many do you have?
2. I think it's proper that we do them one at a time, huh?
Should there be 4? Capture the board book, there are 4.
What do you have there in?
I have the Hamish and the Ryalton Community Improvement Group.
Oh, I have Roger Kukla. I have 3. Who was the other one?
There is 1 to the public school from the Royalton Community Improvement, 1 to Community Ed, and 1, and then there's Roger Klupuk and Hamish, right? There's 1 for Community Ed, and there's 1 for. Is that 2 of them?
Well, we'll do the 3 that we have, or the next one we'll do the other one.
Yeah, well, they were the other.
So,
That's fine.
all right. I have the first one here that is Ryalton Community Improvement, Ryalton School District. Does somebody want to move it?
I'll second.
All right, now read it. Member Hofstad introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Whereas Royalton Community Improvement Group has generously offered to donate $500 to the Royalton School District. Whereas the conditions of this gift are for use in support of purchase of new audio video equipment. Therefore, be it resolved by the Royalton School Board to gratefully accept the gift. The motion for adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Member Lang. And upon a roll call vote being taken thereon, the following voted in favor thereof. Voting, here we go again. We're gonna do this roll call. A vote for aye will be for it, and nay or no will be against. Director Bauman.
Aye. Aye.
Yep, I got it. I just have to write it down. Director Garretts.
Aye.
Director Hackett. Aye. Director Hofstad.
Aye.
Director Lang.
Aye.
Director Rory.
Aye.
And the following voted against. No one. And the following who abstained was no one. The foregoing resolution approved 600 this 25th day of January 2021. All right, two more of these. What is the Roger Kuklak has generously offered to donate $250 to the Royalton School District. For the conditions are, this gift are for use in the elementary school media center for books. Somebody want to move this?
So moved.
Second.
Introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption, whereas Roger Kuklak has generously offered to donate $250 to the Royalton School District. Whereas the condition of this gift are for use in the elementary school media center for books. Therefore, be it resolved by the Royalton School Board to gratefully accept the gift. The motion for adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Member Garretts. And upon a roll call vote being taken thereon, the following voted for. Director Bauman.
Aye.
Director Garretts.
Aye.
Director Hackett. Aye. Director Hofstad.
Aye.
Director Lang.
Aye.
Director Rory. And the following voted against, and the following abstained. The foregoing resolution 600 approved this 25th day of January 2021. Next one is for Mary Hamish has generously offered to donate $500 to the Royalton School District. Does anybody want to move this?
So moved.
I'll second.
Member Hofstad introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Whereas Mary Hamish has generously offered to donate $500 to the Royalton School District. Whereas the conditions of this gift are for use in Royalton High School. Therefore, be it resolved by the Royalton School Board to greatly accept the gift. The motion for adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Member Lang. And upon a roll call vote being taken thereon, the following voted in favor thereof. This will be another roll call vote. Director Bauman.
Aye.
Director Garretts.
Aye.
Director Hackett. Aye. Director Hofstad.
Aye.
Director Lang.
Aye.
Director Rory.
Aye.
And the following voted against, no one, and the following abstained, no one. The foregoing resolution 600 approved this 25th day of January 2021. All right. Thank you, everybody, for the donations. Yeah, it helps. So, all right. Moving on, approval of resignations. Anybody want to move these?
So moved.
It was moved by Director Garretts and seconded by Director Roaring to approve the resignations of the above listed. Levi Hunt, co-head track coach, Kayla Wensman, assistant speech coach. With thank you for services rendered. Any discussion? Hearing none. This will be a roll call vote. I'll be a vote for, Neil will be a vote against. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 6-0-0. Approval of leave. Somebody want to move this?
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Director Hofstad and seconded by Director Garretts to approve leave for 1 year for the speech coach Sherry Menden. Any discussion? Okay, another roll call vote. I'll be a vote for, no will be a vote against. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Let it be known. This motion passes 6-0-0. Yeah, no. FMLA leave for elementary first grade teacher Katie Heminger, approximately May 10th, 2021 for the remainder of the school year. Anybody like to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Lang and seconded by Director Garretts to approve the FMLA leave for first grade teacher Katie Heminger, approximately May 10th, 2021 for the remainder of the school year. Any discussion? All right, roll call vote, same rules. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0-0. All right, FMLA leave for high school social studies teacher Kayla Wensman for approximately April 6, 2021, for the remainder of the school year. I'll move that.
Second.
Moved by Director Hackett, seconded by Director Roaring to approve the FMLA leave for high school social studies teacher Kayla Wensman for approximately April 6, 2021 for the remainder of the school year. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 6-0-0. Approval of new hires. Somebody want to move that?
I'll move it. Second.
Been moved by Director Garretts and seconded by Director Hofstad to approve the following hires based on the findings of each individual's background check, licensure status, and discipline report for the Minnesota Department of Education. We have Jamie Fremstad, interim head speech coach for 1 year. Brett Loudon, junior high wrestling coach from 1.0 to 0.5 reduction. And Wade Cruiser, junior high wrestling coach at a 0.5. Any discussion?
Sorry, what is the 1.0.0.5?
Well, like a full-time equivalent, but it's a part-time job, so it's not really full-time, but. So they get paid, like, if you're an assistant coach, it's part of the contract, it's X amount of dollars. Am I getting this right?
Yeah.
And then if you're like half, you get half that. I hope I'm right. Am I right on that?
They will split the stipend, yes.
Okay.
And that happens many times, especially if they have to work sometime.
Okay.
They can't be there every day. Good question.
That's a good answer. I get a gold star. All right, any other discussion? All right, here we go with another roll call vote. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Garretts.
Aye.
Director Hackett. Aye. Director Hofstad.
Aye.
Director Lang.
Aye.
Director Rory.
Aye.
Motion is approved, 6-0-0. Approval of new hires. Oh, we did that already. Okay, on to discussion, consent agenda.
And I brought this up, Chair Hackett. The reason I brought it up is you just saw. There's so many of these things that you look at ahead of time, it's been put out there many times. And that'd be a case where you present these things all in a consent agenda. With the understanding, any board member can pull one out and say, hey, this is for further discussion. Some things could be discussed in public, other things would have to go into a personnel meeting. For example, let's say I was a new hire for a basketball coach. No, make it wrestling, because I know very little about wrestling. Okay? And Russ is nodding his head, yeah. So, hey, I'd like to pull out and ask some questions about that. And then you would want to move that into a closed session afterwards. Or it's a financial thing and it's specific, and hopefully we get these going all the time, then you would say, Dawn, I was looking for Ms. Ms. Duval, could you please tell us about this entry? And then you approve it all at once instead of going through a continuous chain. The only exception to that would be resolution.
Correct.
But then I would also say resolution, some of those you could put together, but I think it's, especially with donations, to report on
It's so
every
important to
single
read
one.
them.
These people, I mean, to give the things they've given to this district are just wonderful.
So what I'm looking for is just a consensus from the board to set up the next meeting with a consent agenda on it. Would anybody be super opposed to that?
Which portion would you do? Just this current one for section 10, you put in the consent agenda?
Like the approval of the minutes and the, you know, and if you had something that you wanted to pull out, when I first got on the board, we had a consent agenda, we did a consent agenda. And so sometimes like, what would happen was, and this could happen very easily, like say we were voting on something that had to do with somebody where they didn't want to vote on it, where they felt that they wanted to abstain.
Yep.
Well, they'd want to pull that off. Not that they want to vote against, or they want to pull that off because they don't want to abstain on all these things. So then we just take that, you know, like we take, okay, I'll move A through F minus D. You know, and then if somebody else wanted to take something else, when I've been out to the county meetings, that's the way they do it, and they're not tripping over themselves just to get the housekeeping done. But it doesn't mean that if you want to discuss something, we can't stop and discuss something. I think that's where we got tripped up with it before, is more of this, it was a preordained decision, you know, that we just always do the consent agenda, but we just have to really make sure as a board that we're open to pulling anything out of the consent agenda. And that's something we have to work together with. It's not just the chairman's job, it's everybody's job to voice your opinion whenever you feel like it. So if everybody's okay with that, Mary?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to voice my opinion.
Oh, okay, you voice your opinion.
Thank you. I think it's really important, if we use consent agenda, which I'm absolutely in favor of doing, because it expedites a whole lot of time. A whole lot of time. Therefore, I really think, though, that it's very important, if we do a consent agenda, that you always ask, is there any discussion? Because when you ask that, then you're opening it up to the entire board and anyone who is willing to listen. And I really believe that's the key, is just say, is there anyone, you need to have further discussion? Is there further discussion? And if there is, that's the time when Ms. Lang here says, yes, I'd like to pull F out.
And if you're pulling it out for a reason.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right, but you know, it's just, that gives those people that moment in time to think. And that's kind of what you need with a consent agenda. Because you don't want to go, oh, blah, 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 and then something gets skipped over. That's my only concern. The other thing is if we're going to continue to do these resolutions, then they have to be written in the format of a resolution and not just us, you know, saying be it resolved, because we need to see that resolution. That's just been my experience, and I've had a lot of it. So that's a concern I have. That when you have a resolution on the floor, you need to have the board see the resolution. Just a help. But that's why you don't have resolutions all the time. More or less, you have more consent agendas, and that's fine. Thank you.
Randy?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, question. So what is there, if you go to consent agenda, how do you know which sections are in it? Does that change based on the meeting, or do you propose to put things in the consent agenda, or how does it work?
Well, okay, so we would put everything that, the chairman would put everything that he doesn't think is contentious in consent agenda.
So like you said, like the minutes, some of these
But, okay,
donations
so,
maybe, right, but anytime you can pull things up.
like, if you had just a quick question on, the bills or something, you probably wouldn't pull it out, you just ask.
Yep.
But if you were fired up about something, you'd pull it off and spend some time on it, you know? That would be the idea. You know, the consent agenda is just a way to, especially with these roll call votes. I mean, we're spending a lot of time taking roll call votes and all agreeing. So that's where I'm coming from with it, so. All right, well, next meeting, expect a consent agenda and we'll try it out. Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say, and part of putting together an agenda would be agreement. That's why I think it's so important that, you know, the executive committee agree, yeah, this one belongs in consent, this one does. And also be ensure that we're transparent with everybody. Because that's one thing we certainly want to do, at the same time expediting the meeting. I don't think everyone wants to sit and go line by line through the budget. But the budget's available for everybody to see.
I know they do.
I know one person that really wants to go
go through it line by line.
I was just gonna say what you said about transparency, but it does streamline the process. You guys will enjoy coming to board meetings.
I don't necessarily want to take time away. I just want to spend time on the important things. That's
a good way to put it. So,
yeah, I don't want to just come in here and done and out of here. I just want to make sure that our time spent together, we're actually thinking as a group, moving as a group, not doing processes.
So when we start this out, are we gonna make a motion to say, I'd like to add these to the consent agenda?
I'll have a consent agenda. My idea is that we're gonna have a consent agenda and you're going to have, somebody will move it, and if you have when I've been involved in it before, a lot of times if you had something you wanted to pull out, you wanted to make the motion, I'll approve this, but I want to pull this one out. But anybody could say that at any time, and it just, you know, it's up to the chairman, and I'm relaxed enough that I'd just be like, anybody wants to pull anything out, pull it out. We'll do this, and then we're gonna go right to that one. So, yes, sir.
It's something that goes along with all this. I suggest sometime we should go and watch some other board meetings where you can see how this works. And I can try to get some that are online, like this one, and you can see somewhat how this works a lot better, along how other boards work. I think that's always excellent, especially when we couldn't meet in person for the state convention this past month.
Good ones to watch are county board meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, them are good ones. They're even more fun when you're involved in them, so. All right. we done with that one? All right. Moving on, policy reading, third readings. We got 214, the out-of-state travel by school board members. 410, family and medical leave policy. Number 527, student use in parking motor vehicles. And 529, staff notification of violent behavior by students. I'll move them for approval.
I'll second.
It was moved by Director Hackett and seconded by Director Lang to approve policy number 214, out-of-state travel. Policy number 410, family and medical leave policy. Policy 527, student use in parking of motor vehicles. And policy 529, staff notification of violent behavior by students. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0-0. First reading of policy. We heard Director Hofstad talk about some of the work that was done in the first reading on some of these things. We got 419 tobacco-free, 516 student medication, policy 601 school district curriculum and instruction goals, policy 606 organization of grade levels. Policy committee also did read policy 902, use of school district facilities and equipment. I don't know, that'll probably move to the second reading. That one might stick around in our readings for a while because there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that.
Director Hackett.
Yes.
We also decided that we needed a little bit more input from groups that this definitely impacted.
Yeah, it's a lot of worms in that can. So, moving on to item H, 2021-2022 school calendar.
And this one tonight is not up for a vote, it's kind of a look to see what you have, so you have some time to ask questions, digest it some. But with that thought in mind, the person that does the majority of the work putting together calendar and trying to figure things out is Principal Swenson. And he does an outstanding job setting this up, and he's tried to communicate and get ideas from different people. One of the things that we're asked to do continually, if possible, try to finish before Memorial. Sometimes the calendar cooperates, other times it doesn't. This happens to be one year that it is. So I would ask Joel to explain some of this. So Joel, are you there?
Yeah, can everyone hear me?
Hear you fine.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to take a look at the calendar that was presented in the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, if you take a look at it, it really is a mirror of past calendars. The process this goes through is I put together a draft calendar based on past years. We get together administratively and take a look at it. And when we feel comfortable, at least with the draft, it goes out to staff in both buildings. The processes differ a little bit, diverge just a little bit in each building. It goes through the elementary leadership team and through staff in the elementary, and it goes through the staff at the high school. And then those suggestions for the calendar are brought back to us administratively. We try to work through it, see if it works. And when we get comfortable enough with what we're proposing, we bring it before the board. And so we have gone through those processes this school year. As you can see on the calendar you have has the off days, which are very similar to what has been done in the past. August and September are very similar. October 21 and 22 is MEA weekend, MEA break. In November 12th is an in-service day. We've placed that there. It has tended to be based on data, the highest absentee rate due to deer hunting. And so we have put the in-service day there that gives families a chance if they want to get out of town. November 24th, the green date on the calendar, I think it's green on your calendars, is a conference adjustment day. So throughout the year, we have 4 sets of conferences, 2 days in the fall and 2 days in the spring for the elementary. And then there are 1 day in the fall, 2 days in the winter, and another day in the fall for the high school. And because of that, those are service days. And so there are 2 conference adjustment days that are put into the calendar to make up for those conference times that teachers spend in the building. And that first conference adjustment day, after many years of arguing where that day should go, it has really nicely settled on November 24th, the day before Thanksgiving. And it's been a non-issue since then. If you look at December, we go school on the 23rd and Christmas Eve is the 24th. January has MLK, that is a workshop day in the district on the 17th. February gets cobbled up a little bit. We don't have spring break in Royalton. And so President's Day weekend is an extended break, and we do have a lot of families that take advantage of that time. So Friday and Monday are off days. And then Friday, February 28th is a in-service day. And that's usually where we have conferences and other activities going on. It is an in-service day. March is a single in-service day on March 18th. April 15th and the 18th is Easter. And so those are off days on Good Friday and Easter Monday. And then you can see May is pretty much straight through right to Memorial Day. The last day of school is Friday, May 27th, the Friday before Memorial Day, which is the first. I've been doing this calendar as AD and as principal for probably 15 years. This is one of the first times I can remember that it came out. Before being done before Memorial Day. On the bottom of that calendar, you can see the number of student days and the number of teacher days. Teachers need 183 days in the calendar, and students have 170 days. So this has gone through all the processes. It has gone through staff input, administrative input, and now we're bringing it before the board for your discussion and review. And this does have bearing on us in terms of moving forward and planning for next school year. Getting these things out, planning conferences, planning in-services. Dr. Grabata and I plan in-services with Sourcewell and other entities. So I guess right now would be it's time for the board's opportunity to review and ask questions about it. And it doesn't have to be tonight. It can be over the course of until the next regular meeting. But if you have any questions for me tonight on this, I'd be happy to answer any.
Anybody got any questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Are there, Mr. Swenson, you said there's 2 comp days, the green days each year, or just 1?
2.
So I only see 1 on the schedule.
I believe the conference adjustment day is Easter Monday on that calendar. So Easter Monday is off based on, let me bring the calendar up here again. The comp day should actually, the April 18th day should be green instead of blue.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Any other questions?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Swenson?
Yep.
When the teachers go over this, it's been kind of notorious that a few changes. Do you think that may happen this year, or this seems like a very nice schedule? So I don't know, but you can't foresee that, I'm sure.
I didn't quite catch the question, Mary, at the front end of it.
Chance that this schedule is going to stay this way, or are we 90% of the way there, or only 50% of the way there? Is that kind of?
No, this would be the adopted district calendar if the board agrees to it in February.
Okay.
Comment.
Yes.
One of the changes that we made several years ago, we had an opportunity because we're working on the strategic plan to get more instruction in the summer. So what we've done to help us along the way to be able to get out a little earlier is we took 2 professional development days and put it in the summer. And they've been based upon the program that Sourcewell has put on for years. It's there also, and you can see that in August, it's set up for the 11th and 12th. I want you to understand that so you know that's one of the things that's helped make room for this, to be able to get done a little sooner. Would you agree with that, Joel?
Absolutely, and we've had incredibly good participation. I believe we had last summer at the Marzano. Well, the summer before, this summer was cobbled up. It was online, which made it more difficult. But usually it's held at Madden's up in Brainerd, and I want to say we had, what was it, 75 people or something. It was 75% of our teachers or 80% of our teachers attended, and then the teachers that had scheduling conflicts on those days in August had to make those 2 days up throughout the year, based on work on the strategic plan, which was high reliability schools for the past few years.
We've offered transportation to our staff too. Some staff, we like to just rent a room up there and they enjoy the time and relax together up there. So it's been very nice, and I think it builds a lot of camaraderie with the staff as well.
All right. Okay, moving on, and secondary school schedule.
Yeah, again, this is one, and I'll start it off and then I'll let Principal Swenson continue with it. This past year, it was suggested that we go to some type of block schedule. And what we used to be in was a block, and you stay in that block for either a quarter or a semester, and you meet 4 times a day. The idea is you're not running around the school all the time with COVID, and it helps isolate a little bit as best we can by limiting the movement. It was so successful because what we did was an A-B block. That's what Principal Swenson thought would be really good, in that there are disadvantages with the block. And I mentioned it before, but not for the public, they can understand a little more. The problem is I could finish math, Algebra 2, let's say, or Algebra 1 if I'm in a middle school, and finish in January, never to take math again till the following year. Plus, our state testing goes down in the spring. I wouldn't have had math for 3 months. This one day you have the math, and next day you might have English, and it bounces back and forth. There's a lot of advantage to that, and one of the biggest ones, instead of just getting class started, you get to have a complete class. That's not just for labs, that's for everything. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, and so when we went through the schedule last summer, I had a 1-period day, 2-period day, 4-period day, 7-period day schedules, not knowing what the state was going to mandate. I was trying to prepare, and a few board members were aware of this. I was trying to prepare for whatever eventuality came out of it, and many conversations with John and Phil about what would be the best way to attack what we're going to be faced with. And we looked at the block as it reduced the amount of passing time. It gave more time for labs, Phy-Ed, band. It gave more time for the shop classes to get together. And so when we did the block before, like Superintendent Phelps said, we had a block schedule where you had 90-minute classes for a semester, and then you switched all of your classes over. In the A-B block, it allows us to keep the schedule for the year. So you have your math class for the entire year. And so on an odd day, on an A day, let's say you have it first period, you have math on A day, first period. You have it every other day throughout the year. But it goes all year long. And so when we put this in this fall, it was new for almost all of the students that were experiencing it. And so I waited for a few months for teachers to get involved with. Some teachers had not taught in the block before. I went around in November before we went into pre-scheduling, and I personally visited with, I would say, probably 95% of the teachers in the building. I wanted to speak with them in person and get their views without trying to get their perceptions in a meeting where other people are watching. A one-on-one conversation in person. And I had overwhelming support for this. They said that the students really liked it. They felt more relaxed. There's not as many bells and passing times and things going on. They don't have 7 classes a day. They get to concentrate on 4. It slows the time down. It allows students who might struggle in class. It gives them a few extra minutes in a 90-minute class period to ask questions, get extra help. They might be a student who takes their time on an exam or a test. It gives them an opportunity to take that extra time if they need it and not feel the pressure of being backed up against a bell schedule. So the staff reviewed it very positively in the conversations that I had with them, and they had reported that students had also viewed the schedule positively. And so we were planning on doing that. There was a few snags with prep time and things like that. And that's where if you have the document in front of you that I submitted, the report on Wednesdays, that Wednesday schedule would be the 8-period day. So it would give an opportunity for all classes to meet. In a regular 5-day school week, you're going to have 2 A days and 2 B days. And then on Wednesday, you would have a day where you meet with all of your classes for 45 minutes. That gives every class on a regular scheduled week, it gives every class 3 meeting times, 2 90-minute classes and a 43-minute class. It evens out prep times that teachers get 3 preps a week. It allows us to put in our PLC time like we had talked about over the past few years without changing bus schedules and without changing arrival times and without changing the things that we thought people would have trouble with. And so we wanted to present this to the board, and it has a lot of information in it, and I'm happy to ask questions, but we really feel that this has been really a nice feature. Maybe something positive to come out of COVID is that we have, I don't like switching the schedule, and I feel like in my 11 years as principal, we probably switched the schedule 3 times in an effort to find what is the right fit for our staff and for our students and for our community. And I feel like we have landed on something here pretty positively. The students get used to A and B day. Yeah, I have a few middle schoolers that come up right away in the morning. I can tell when they're walking up to me that I know what question's coming. Is it an A or B day? And once you tell them, hey, it's a B day today, they know where they're going and they're off.
Well, I get asked that a lot.
Yeah. I believe that. And so we try to, we're going to try to have something on the announcements, the display boards in the building, once we get students back, of just having something that flashes up there. Today is an A day, where they can see it when they have those questions. Having it on the website, having the calendar, having to switch the calendar from hybrid to in-person to back to distance learning. We probably switched the calendar in the way that we're operating a couple different times throughout the year. I would think that it would be more when we're in person and we're moving along in regular operation, that calendar stays pretty standard and there would be less questions regarding of what day it is.
Anybody have any questions for Joel? No, Director Garretts.
Yes, Joel, so just the most confusing part to me obviously was on Wednesday, but I think understanding it now a little more, I would still be confused, but I guess as long as the kids know. But the other thing I wanted to mention, with the schedule you're proposing here for the Wednesday does include some PLC time, but something that we were struggling with earlier, was it last year? I don't know, feels like it could be eons ago, or when to start, when to, do we do late, the whole time. But it looks like this schedule you're proposing on Wednesdays still has everybody, the buses all come in the same. There's, an hour opportunity there in the morning for the kids to do things, but then it's right back into school, correct?
Correct. The buses would not be affected by the Wednesday times. We would have supervision available. We schedule a department every week along with the paras to supervise the building. They have time for breakfast. We have a quiet study place in the media center. We open a gym if they want to get some exercise. They're allowed to sit and visit if they'd like to, but we have plenty of staff. We probably have, I would say it's probably a dozen staff on any given Wednesday that are circulating and supervising the building while their other departments are meeting in PLC. The Wednesdays only happen on odd, when there's weeks with odd numbers of days. So if you have let's just say it's MEA week where you have Thursday and Friday off, we have an A day Monday, a B day Tuesday, and then you get to meet with all of your classes on Wednesday. That way you get an even number of class periods for all of the classes. On a 4-day week, we don't have the Wednesday. We just go A, B, because we both get you get 2 meetings with your classes. The week of Thanksgiving is a 2-day week. We would have an A day Monday and a B day Tuesday, and there is no Wednesday. So the Wednesdays occur during odd day weeks. If there's 3 days or 5 days, you have the 7-period day in it. If it's a 2 or 4-day week, you do not.
Yeah, I like the schedule. It's
Joel.
like a great idea.
This is Director Hackett. So
Yes,
on
sir.
a 5-day a week, you're gonna gain 32 minutes of instruction time?
You would gain for all of the classes in general. You know, in a 5-day week, you're going to have 3 A. If you don't have the Wednesday, you're going to have 3 A days and 2 B days. So you're going to have 270 minutes of one class and 180 minutes of another class. This standardizes it in a regular 5-day week that you're going to have approximately 223 minutes in all of those classes.
That's really cool the way it works out, actually. So, Director Lane.
Mr. Swenson, this is Mary Lane. Years ago, it was called the modular system. Do the children or the students get to choose their classes?
Do they get to choose the classes that they want to have?
Great.
They do. As they go up in the grade levels, there's more selection. If you're a sophomore, junior, senior, I mean, there's some required classes. We're a 3-section school, so like an English class, we have English 10 placed in 3 different spots in the schedule. They can choose and work their schedule around to where they want that to be. It's not unlimited. We don't have an English 10 class every period, so they have to kind of play Tetris a little bit with their scheduling. They know they have to get English 10 in, so if they put it here because they really want to get welding here, they have that option to work through that. As you work down the grade levels, 6th graders are basically, they have a choice, band or choir, and the rest of the classes are scheduled for them. But as they get older, they have more choice and more responsibility for them to choose the classes that they want to take.
Years ago, what we found is that lab for like biology, chemistry, all of the sciences were really, really well attended and were given more time in order to accomplish their directive. However, we had some students that got to be in the senior year where they were doing a lot of 5 classes and music or chorus and kind of non-substantial core curricular areas. Is there a way to kind of prevent that?
Yes, that part of the pre-registration process that we go through, and what I talked about in my principal's report, is when we're having these nights to meet with kids and their families, is we really persuade and try to persuade students. My take on it is that your most difficult year academically should be your senior year. And to get away from senior slide, that you should be challenged. If you are going to college or to a tech school or to whatever, I don't think it's a great idea for students to arrange their schedule to have an easy senior year. I think they should be taking challenging capstone level courses. That doesn't mean that they can't get into the classes that they want, but you want to mix it. You want to make sure that you have some balance in that schedule as you go through it. But the reason we do the pre-registration and it with student-led conferences in a normal year, our teachers with student-led conferences, the teachers schedule with their homerooms, And part of that dynamic has become that the homeroom advisor is kind of working through where are you going to school after you're done? What are you going into a job? What kind of classes should you be taking because of this? You know, a lot of times science students are unsure of what should they take physics or not. Well, if you're going to go be a physical therapist, you might want to think about taking physics, and those are the conversations that we're having with students. Also with our ramp up program, which has been in hiatus because of COVID, we're working with students and developing 4-year plans based on their career interests. And so we're always focusing on scheduling and registration with an eye on their future.
I'm sorry. Joel, what happens is that the kids get a grade point level that's marginal. So if they've got their core curricular taken, that's why they take kind of sloppy classes in order to get their grade point average up. That has happened. I've seen it. How are you're going to try to prevent that, and I understand that. I just hope that you are aware that that certainly can and probably will happen in some cases.
Absolutely. I think there's probably not a foolproof way to avoid it. One of the things we have done in the past 5 years is we have increased grad requirements. We require 4 years of math in high school. We require more science. And so when you look at, basically you are required in English, social studies, and math that you have to have those all 4 years of high school. And I think that's important. It does increase the students' responsibility to be in those core classes, while at the getting flexibility in the schedule so they can schedule some of those interest areas that they want. But we strongly discourage, and hopefully with the increased grad requirements, it's a little tougher today to schedule a year that doesn't include some of those upper level classes.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Joel?
And so what I would ask here is that we take a vote on this tonight.
Oh, you want to vote on this?
Yes, and the reason we need a vote on it tonight is he wants to go ahead and schedule. The sooner you get things scheduled, the sooner we can get it out.
That's fine with me.
And here's another piece. There's no guarantee that we won't start off next fall in COVID. And this is what we started with this year. It was okay. And he started to work a little bit in it. And like he said, once he started, he liked it very much. I like it as a science teacher, just for the reason that you talked about.
All right, I'll move it.
I'll second.
Great.
This isn't moving a calendar, right?
No.
No, this is the senior
Or the
schedule.
learning model or secondary school schedule is what we're voting on.
Just want to make sure I'm thinking right after.
Yep. It's moved by Director Hackett and seconded by Director Hofstad to approve the, what is the name of it? It's modified block schedule.
Yeah.
Modified block schedule as presented by Principal Swenson. Is there any comments or any discussion, I guess, what we're looking for? Hearing none, this will be another roll call vote. I'll be for, Dan be against. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0-0. The motion is approved.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for all the work you've done, and I think it'll be interesting. So, yeah. All right, moving on to teacher prep.
Yeah, this is one, if you remember way back in October, the governor directed that we had to give an added half an hour for every day that teachers are here of prep. And the problem was trying to figure out how to do it. And our committee, which is made up of community members, teachers, paras, you name it, is on that committee. I forget how many Russ are on there, but a lot of people. Anyway, they said they don't like the idea of doing a half an hour every day. Just about the time you start getting set, what happens is it's done. It takes time to prepare, to prep. So they thought the best route would be, hey, let's take a day every so often, a Wednesday, and make that the day. Half the day could be distance learning, the other half would make up for the prep, which would be 2.5 hours. Okay, or 2.5, I think I got that right, 3 hours. And anyway, we took a look at that until we found out that MDE said, that's really, you're in a hybrid. If we're in a hybrid, now we got another problem because we can only have half the number on the buses. So with that thought in mind, we had to find another way. How do you do it? The suggestion, talking with the teachers and some other people had some ideas. What if we took our professional development days, which you already voted on? So we took 2 of those days for our teachers, and it truly is professional development. The problem is when you're talking about 6 days, now we would have to take away days from the students. And a suggestion that had come to the teachers was, well, what if we pay out at a professional development as a professional development day? And not take the day? Well, I'd be for it. But as the teachers talked and they got together, they said that'd be tough. They do need more time, period. They like the idea. So they said, let's split the difference. Let's go 2 days of getting paid for professional development at $22 an hour. 1 hour equals 1 or 2 days. 1 hour pay equals 2 days. Because it's professional development, we can take that money out of professional development. And the other thing is we do also have ESSER money, which is some of the COVID money that comes into our system. Between the two, we felt that we could do it either way. Actually, if the teachers would ask for all 4 days, that would have been fine. But they really, I know the stress. I've seen it in their faces. I've seen the added work they're doing. It's a lot of hours. It's some people think it's easy. It ain't easy. I want to tell you that. So they decided these are some days that make sense and it breaks things up a little bit. They want to have 2 days, February 11th and April 23rd. And then get paid out at $22 per hour for 2 more days. The total of bill comes to $38,000. And it counts as those prep time. That's something I did get cleared from the state, that if we take day off strictly for professional development, then we can do it. One of those days is on President's Day, correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, and then the other day just kind of hangs out there at April.
Correct, yeah. February 11th is, February 11th would be a student day. That is one of the paid out days. That is the Thursday before President's Day. And then the other day is April 1st, and that is the Thursday before Easter.
April 1st, I had down April 23rd.
The off days would be April 23rd. The prep days were it's not off days, they're prep. Students are off, but the teachers would be in prep work on April 23rd and on
February 11th.
February 11th, I'm sorry, yes. The paid days would be April 1st and May 7th.
Gotcha.
I have a question. Is this gonna start a past practice?
No.
No, and that was something that also was made clear by.
And the governor's executive orders, when he mandated this half hour of prep for any time in student learning, when we come back to in-person learning. For just this year, there hasn't been a new executive order saying it's this.
So
it's just for.
will there have to be an executive order that says that ends, or will this eventually expire, or
It sunsets at the end of this fiscal year.
unless they expand it,
And
which
they
then it does cause government?
Correct. They could end it early. Let's say everybody gets vaccinated, everything's good, they could end it early. Don't count.
Don't
But as soon as executive orders are done, it's done.
Okay, Russ, do you have questions?
So help me under the paid day. So what does that exactly mean? Does that mean they still have our kids here, are no kids here, is it just
Here.
teachers?
The paid days they would be in student days that would have potentially been off days where our students would have been home and the teachers were using prep. Because of what the executive order says, this half hour each day, the teachers had up to 6 days that were on the calendar, depending on what the students came back into session full time. So instead of having time away from children on their student days, I did some research and found out there are other districts that they're paying their teachers out on these prep days, so they're not losing these in-student days. So John and I, Superintendent Phelps and I, very nice to them, chatted about it, and he presented it to Joel and the union, and that's how the process started. We're trying to eliminate as many in-person student days being out, because let's face it, we've been in distance learning for a while. We don't want to jeopardize any more student days, so it was a good compromise.
And we don't want to put the pressure on the parents. But Russ, you're absolutely right. This is, instead of taking 2 more days, which that's what Joel was talking about, he confused me for a second too. Instead of taking those 2 days, instead we're paying them out to our staff. And not all staff get the same amount because only the elementary started 3 weeks ago, so they get some different ones, and there's some other calculations. That's why right now it's pretty much the estimate of 38.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
exact.
Unless there's people going off and on paid, our FMLA, which we already had calculated, that number is pretty much set unless the executive order sunsets early, which I don't anticipate.
What does this do to non-teaching staff?
Would you repeat that, please?
What is the repercussions for non-teaching staff?
On those days, we've got to discuss that some on how we're going to work it. One of the problems with that is obviously bus drivers. And also it would the cafeteria,
Kitchen staff, the parents, I mean,
the parents could play part of that, although we would have to have childcare.
I think that was part of the compromise of having days that are already professional development days, because those are non-student days to begin with.
Yeah.
So they're already on the calendar, not affecting those non-licensed staff. Now, hence the compromise on the 2 days that we're splitting, because it affects more than just kids not being here.
Well,
It affects all of our non-licensed staff. That's 9 months. So I think it was a healthy compromise, and we have the 2 staff developments.
are we putting ourselves in the chance for agreements with somebody?
I don't think so. I think the 2 days that are already on the calendar for non-student days to begin with.
I just,
Yeah, so no, there's no room for that, because those days built in that they are having as prep days were non-student days to begin with. Student days were paying out, so they're in session. So yes, it had the potential to affect a lot of people, and something that we had talked about.
well, we're mandated to give it to them, so I mean,
We're paying.
find a compromise, a middle ground is probably what is the best case scenario.
And it would be like 2 snow days, because that happens during a snow day as well.
Right?
And we had the capability to pick 4 of them with staff development and answer. But I think John already indicated that the teachers felt that they needed those 2 prep days. So I thought it was a healthy compromise, and I think Mr. Swenson, we talked, and I think he thought it was a great compromise. I don't know if he's still on, if he could speak to that. He might
Are we looking for approval of this tonight?
Yeah, the sooner we get it approved, we could set it off a little more, but then we're gonna run into February 11th, where we don't have a meeting. And that's one of the days they've selected, and that's up against President's Day. They picked that day because it was real close. You know, it's part of a longer weekend. Now it's one more day longer.
Would anybody feel distressed on voting on this tonight?
Well, my question is, you know, obviously we've explained which days it was, or from what Joel had said, and then, you know, going back and forth. So I'm not necessarily tracking exactly what the days are, but is this something that we can get ahead of time to look at next time, rather than bringing it up in the meeting of, we want to do these days?
Yes, we can. I put it out to you in a board briefing a couple weeks ago to take a look at to start to have them. But I want you to understand, if the teachers wanted to, they could say, we want 4 days, forget the pay. And some teachers want 4 days and forget the pay. Some teachers want everyday pay, which is fine, and that's why this is kind of compromised. And those are the days they thought would work out best.
Yep, I understand the compromise part, because I'm all for it, but bringing it up at a meeting rather than before is problematic.
It was discussed at the last board meeting that we had this in the works, we just didn't have the days because it had to go to the union, the teachers union, and they had to make a decision and vote on it. So that's where it gets caught up in the process. We found out in January that we were gonna have to do it. And before that, probably we just didn't know how we were gonna do it. All these scenarios came, and then we did discuss it, but we couldn't come up with days or other scenarios because the teachers had to decide first, their union.
And that occurred after our organizational.
Yep.
So yes, I do respect that. Yes, I do agree.
I
that
totally agree.
the actual, most other things will not be like this.
If we,
No, I'm done.
if we can, we certainly want to have that.
Will this have to be written as a memorandum of understanding?
No,
Nope,
we don't put that as part of the
All
contract.
right, I
then
just
you
wondered,
could be in trouble.
Yeah, then it
So-
could be issues.
I don't understand all the legal repercussions, so I just keep on asking.
Good question. We can hold off and think about it and go on it at special meeting, but would have to be before the 11th of February.
So is this the recommendation of administration?
I would say yes, I am in favor of it. So
I'm
are
in
both
favor
the
of it,
principals.
yes.
Joel, are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, he's there.
you're on board with this too?
Yeah, this went through, and I respect Director Hofstad's requirement. This is one of these weird COVID-related emergency type things that gets put on our plate at the last minute, and you're trying to work through different groups. And typically, something like this would be placed on agendas months ahead of time. We just didn't get that this time with this one. And the amount of conversation it took, not only that, but the fact of everybody in the state is presented with this problem, and how districts navigate it is kind of local, kind of a local decision. And I feel good about it. I think it's a good compromise. We don't want to lose student days, but we want to provide teachers the amount of time it takes to navigate both students who are in class and distance learning. And I think that the compromise is a good one.
Okay. Dr. Gravata, are you on the line yet or not?
Yes, I am. And I wanted, we did struggle with this, trying to figure out what to do with 30 minutes a day when schedules are already full. And I think John kind of went through the history. We first looked at the Wednesday, half a day in school, afternoon for prep, but ran into some problems with that. And what I think is good is the teachers themselves got together and worked out a compromise, because some wanted all the days, they really felt the planning time was more important than getting paid. Others realized that would be a lot of days taken out of the calendar. So I guess one of the positive things is the teachers from the elementary and the high school coming together and working out a compromise together. and making a proposal that we all thought we could work with and agree with. So, you know, politics is kind of the art of compromise. We don't see that as much as we should see it. And so I thought one of the positive things to come out of this, not everybody got exactly what they wanted, but there was a coming together and a sense of fairness and everybody getting something, but not necessarily what everybody wanted. And I think it was something that really was just dropped on us suddenly by the state government without them, I think, really looking at all the nuances, problems, and concerns that could come from it. It's not as simple as just, oh yeah, here's another 30 minutes, unless you're going to, you know, extend your day for another 30 minutes and push everything back. And I don't think anybody was in favor of that. So as muddled and as confused as it was at the beginning, it just shows that people really can get creative and even in more difficult situations, find something and make it work. So it's not perfect, but it is workable and it does meet the requirements of the governor's order. So I guess that's a long way of saying, yes, I do support it.
Yeah, it's good to hear you thinking too, so. All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move to approve the administration's recommendation to comply with the governor's executive order by moving, help me write this, people. What is your recommendation? By moving comp days to February 18th? The what?
I would say by moving the applicable prep days to fit the executive order.
Two of the prep days, the February 11th and April 23rd, and paying out the other 2 days as needed.
Are you saying that because if there's a snow day? Or?
No, I'm saying that because the elementary started
I get it.
2 weeks, so there's a difference in time, a lot. Okay, and then we have some other leaves of absences, which aren't applicable. My speech impediment.
Applicable. All right, so I read it here. Approve the administration's recommendation to comply with the governor's executive order by moving the 2 applicable prep days to February 11th and April 23rd, and to pay out the other 2 days as needed. Keep us out of legal trouble? So we want to second it?
I'll second.
All right. It was moved by Director Hackett and seconded by Director Garrett to approve the administration's recommendation to comply with the governor's executive order by moving the 2 applicable prep days to February 11th and April 23rd, and to pay out the other 2 days as needed. Is there any discussion?
I just have one question.
Yep.
Since it's a payout, I believe I should abstain. Since,
Yeah.
okay,
Great.
perfect.
Yeah, you should try abstain.
Do you feel like you should abstain?
If it's a payout, because
Yeah.
my husband could financially benefit.
I think that's the best thing to go with. If your gut feels like you should stay out, you should stay out. So
Sounds good.
it's understandable.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, this will be a roll call vote on the motion made to approve the administration's recommendation to comply with the governor's executive order by moving the 2 applicable prep days to February 11th and April 23rd, and to pay out the other 2 days as needed. Director Bauman,
Abstain.
Director Garrett,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that the motion is passed 5-0-1. All right, virtual chat.
Yeah, this was something you had brought to my attention. And it comes back to a couple other discussions that we had, and our chat just goes crazy. And then people start reading the chat instead of paying attention to the meeting across the board. I'm not just talking about board members. And then some things aren't always shouldn't belong there. So the discussion should be, do you want to keep chat up? Or do you want to close chat during these times, during the board meeting?
I kind of, this meeting, I kind of did it as chairman's, privy to do that, so, you guys are okay with that, I'm gonna keep it up like that.
Just using the raise hand
Yep.
option, I think that's fine.
You know, it's another obstacle for people, but I know the one meeting, there was, I mean, I can't even have my computer on because it's to keep track of where I am here and watch that. And so if anybody here is doing that, they're not paying attention to what we're talking about. So I don't know, that's where I'm at with it, so. All right, we're gonna cross that one out. Okay.
It'd be good, Chair, to have the other board members enter into the discussion just to get their opinion.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
Go
let's make
ahead.
a motion for it.
oh, you wanna make a motion for it? That's fine.
That gets it done too.
Yeah, that does it really good. All right, what's your motion, Ryan?
To turn off the virtual chat, and have, those attending virtually raise their hand to, address the board. At least during the meetings. That way it gives us a chance to respond as well.
Susan can move her screen forward, we could actually read it. Oh, I can't.
Oh, I have a big one.
Okay, Director Hofstad moved to turn off the virtual chat and have those who wish to speak use the raise hand feature in the meeting. Is that all you have? I can't read what you have.
Yeah, motion to turn off virtual chat and have virtual attendees raise their hands to address the board during virtual meetings.
Oh, you do a better job than me. I'll second that. Is there any more discussion?
Randy, I have one item.
Yeah.
Just to be clear too, we're not saying that there is, you can't, like, we're talking about secondary schedule. If somebody did have a comment, they could still use the
Yes,
raise hand and we can still.
I'm not limiting it just to that.
Just more
That
formal, how to address the board and how we can go and look to see when we should address a comment or not.
So we don't have a lot of dissent, in it, right? So and my dad always told me that when things are going good is when you should get things down in writing and not when the stuff hits the fan.
Yep.
And that's what happens. And then you start wondering if what's getting posted on there is even factual. You know, you can't even call them out of order because they're not in the meeting, they're on the side meeting, and I like the motion, I like the idea too. Yeah, and I do think that the state will catch up to open meeting law, will catch up to the technology, but it's gonna take some time. We're all learning, you know, on how this goes, so. All right, I'm gonna read it one more time. Moved by Director Hofstad and seconded by Director Hackett to, Susan, you got the wording.
Motion to turn off the virtual chat and have virtual attendees raise their hands to address the board during virtual meetings.
Any discussion? All right, this will be another roll call vote. I will be for, Neil will be against. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0-0. All right. Moving on to item L, Superintendent.
Yeah, and this is one Russ had talked about because we have to look at the future of the school, which is very, very important. But with that said, I've been struggling with myself whether to retire or not. And on Friday, I got some news from my doctor, something reoccurring that's kind of ended the bid. Both my family, my whole family wants me to be at home. So over the past I'll get virtual. For those that don't know that, you get choked up. That's a Jewish term. I've enjoyed my work in Royalton. I genuinely love the people, students, and communities of Royalton, Bolas, and my church community in Grant. I became superintendent to change education away from seat time to what we have learned. The first year I was here, we laid the foundation work as a district to have individualized, independent, self-paced learning as our goal. I hope you will continue with the work focusing on standards-based learning, priority standards, and proficiency scales to move students learning forward. Over the past 10 months, COVID-19 has become an obstacle to complete that work. I see that taking us back a couple of years in our work. That means I would have to stay longer. To me, my decision was, do I stay or do I let you bring in somebody else or ask you, retire so you would bring in somebody else that continue the work that you want. And so with that, it's tough for me put down this lifelong dream of changing education. I think we got a great start here, but with that thought, I'm going to retire at the end of this school year with the last day of June being my last day here. So now I go back to, and you might want to vote on this tonight so you move forward, to when you want to set that meeting, because now you not only want to set your goals, but you also want to take a look at what is the basis you're going to hire your new superintendent on. That becomes so important that, oh, he interviewed well. I would encourage you not to do that. I would also encourage you to work through your organization to set up as a clearinghouse to do this. I noticed this past week, there were 11. There are going to be some more announcements this week. The sooner we get into them, the sooner it can be advertised, and you'll be able to set up a time scale with them. I'll help you in every single way I can. I think it's important not to make just the board decision, but parents in the community have input, staff, along with the administrative staff have input, and then you as a school board have input. And you will make the final decision based on all that. But again, I think it's important to have your goals in mind. Have an end in mind of what you're looking for, and not just go by an interview. So I respectfully give you my retirement. And thank you as a board.
Okay. So we're still under item L. Are you finished, John?
Yes, I'm finished with it.
All right, so now I guess we're under item L, superintendent, so this is gonna start a whole nother thing. I would assume the process is to notify MSBA and to meet with them probably as soon as possible.
I would recommend that, especially for you and Vice Chair. Garrett.
What is the
25th.
I can do the preliminary work for you tomorrow. But I would recommend, so you can move forward, to accept my resignation tonight. And like I really hadn't made up my decision until Friday. And some of you know I've been working hard to put together national certification, but when that hit me on Friday, in the middle of those meetings, that hit me hard.
Okay. So,
We have,
So I think when we have a motion to accept his resignation.
I suppose that should be the first thing we do
Yep.
here. All right. So we want to make that motion?
It is with deep regret that I move that we accept the resignation.
Not resignation, retirement.
Retirement.
There's a difference.
Retirement, right,
Thank you.
of John. Again.
I'll second it. It was moved by Director Lang and seconded by Director Hackett to accept the retirement of Superintendent John Phelps. Is there any discussion? All right. I don't hear any discussion, so the roll call vote. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes 6-0-0 to accept the retirement of Superintendent John Phelps effective June 31st, is that right? June 30th, I suppose, not 31 days in June.
Yeah, otherwise I'm here forever if you didn't.
Oh. All right. With many thanks for the work that you've done here, John, and will continue to do for the next whatever more months. All right, continue on item L under superintendent. I've been through it once, so you've been through it, Mary?
Yes.
Okay, so the process here is the organization that we pay dues to is MSBA, and they have people that do this all the time, will help us. And they are unbiased and they are the best guides for this. This is a little bit of a walk through the wasteland, so I suggest that we try to get a meeting with them probably next week sometime, as soon as possible.
I'll find out for you and then notify the entire board.
Can you do that? Just
Yes,
notify the whole board and
absolutely.
then we can try to set up a meeting as soon as possible.
Yeah, and the other great thing about them, they have their pulse on what goes on in the state,
Yes,
and they will know, who to screen out for you in advance. You can, of course, ask for all of the applicants, but they'll do some screening for you to help you.
What you do, Sam, is this is my third week, this is my fourth. Slowly before. That you guys aren't doing this alone. You still have John helping, you have administration, you have teachers, rely on those resources.
principals.
It's a committee, so.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
Sure, man.
Here goes.
So I would assume then too, to John's point, we should probably look at upcoming meeting just to do our goals, make sure we're kind of aligned with that, especially with the new board members. And then also I think.
MSBA will help with that. They got the tools and the worksheets and the know, but you are right. Yes, it should be, but they will help with that. They'll help with the schedule. It's going to be a little bit grueling. John?
And I would, if we can meet on Monday the 1st, that would be a good time to lay out a little more for yourself. I can help you through that. I want to expedite this as fast as I can for you and move from there.
When do you start, so you said that I'm assuming there's a committee that we want to at some point.
Generally, there's a committee of administration, teachers, school board, usually a few of every. And I've been on, when I was in Park Rapids and Macquarie, we had some community members too, really depending on the size of the, but yeah, once it's screened, then there's a committee for me, but MSBA will truly walk you through it.
And then we will need a few extra meetings, so everybody's kind of aware of that. Because it is other time. But I think if John helps you walk through it, we sometimes give you listing, or even people that may be interested in small scale. So they'll have the resources. Not that the recommendations are always wonderful. But, we can glean that on.
Thanks so much for the good
I've got to do some other things.
Okay, so we're gonna leave the scheduling to get back from MSBA. Upcoming meeting schedule, we got Tuesday, February 8th, policy meeting.
What time?
That's the night.
It's the 9th, I made a mistake.
Unfortunately, we have to keep on marching with the other stuff too, so.
So is it gonna be on the 8th or the 9th?
The 9th. Yes, John?
Yeah, the 9th, but again, you really need to get together before MSBA, that's why I suggest the first.
Yeah, I have that down lower.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just,
and then Monday, February 22nd is our regular scheduled board meeting.
We need to set up this meeting,
Okay,
but I know, I believe that people will be at work, so whatever. I mean, everyone works, don't get me wrong. So whatever time and date works for you guys, send me an email. If we want to collaborate, a group email, and we'll set a time.
okay. You guys in for February 1st as a goal setting meeting? That'd be next Monday, 6 o'clock. Monday at 6 o'clock. Does that work for everybody? Kyra, does that work for you?
Yep.
Their commitment.
You what?
I'd rather be at another meeting.
Oh, okay. At 6 o'clock, what other time works? Or-
7.
How about 7 o'clock? Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Works for me. Ryan, work for you? All right, goal setting meeting, February 1st at 7 o'clock. Let's hope to have heard back from MSBA by then, and they'll have some paperwork for us with the pathway, and perhaps even have a person here.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so,
Director Hofstad, what time works for you on the 9th?
I will have to get back to you. I believe the 808 will work.
Okay.
I just.
Yep.
I'll check them all.
Oh,
can we do that as a
thank you.
group text too, between the 4 of us? One. Yeah.
What do we want to do with that? Maybe we should do it 8:30 after the bus.
Yeah, that, I was gonna suggest at 8:30.
All right. Any other meetings this time? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Go ahead.
For the first, is it just the board meeting, or do we want to invite some of the others, like the teachers, some of the staff in for that goal setting meeting? Or are we going to just start with the board?
Don, do you have some insight on that?
Yeah, this is for the board to set their goals. You've all run, you got elected, you have a feeling, number one, you've all stated what you would like to see for while you're on the board, but you should have some feedback to start with from people. You certainly, if you want,
Probably would be a
your
good
inner
thing
circle,
for
you
us
can
to have
discuss it.
voice. You know, get top 10 or top 3 Any opposed? All right. So I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Director Garrett and seconded by Director Roaring to adjourn the meeting at 8:20. Any discussion? This will be a roll call vote. Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garrett,
Aye.
Director Hackett, aye. Director Hofstad,
Aye.
Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring. Aye. Meeting's adjourned, 8:20.